Hello, guys. I'm hoping you're having a lovely day. As usual, niko poa, mnajichunga hadi mimi niko salama. So today we are doing another recording. I'm with a very awesome human being, anaitwa Idi. He's going to explain more about himself. And the topic we are discussing today ni about gender equality. So we are going to we did our own research, but sasa tutaongelelea everything yenye tuli research about. So I'm going to let Eddie introduce himself. Eddie, welcome.
Hi guys, my name is Edmund Mwangi. I am a public speaker and a debater. I am a SRHR advocate, sexual, reproductive and health rights advocate, and I am stoked for this podcast.
Hey, me guys, you people are just shocking me. I love the fact that kila mtu saizi anakaa kuna vitu anafanya and the fact that kila mtu tu amespecialize, kila mtu ameanza tu kufanya vitu zake. Ebu you people, if you have a passion and if you love something, just go for it. Mimi ndo naweza sema. So me and Eddie have been friends for a long time, and that's why nasema hivyo, because I've known him since childhood, and that's what I said. But basically, I'm really proud of the place in amefika saizi, and we're just going to get straight into it. And my first question is going to be gender equality. What do we mean tukisema gender equality?
So gender equality is a multifaceted word. It's a huge dimension of terms, but niliamua I stick with the basic fundamental definition. So gender equality can be defined as the fundamental right. So according to international provisions, which tutaongelelea baadaye. So this is the act of giving equal opportunity and enjoyment for both men and women in matters of accessing equal opportunities, jobs, anything that people may want to achieve or to access. It's for them to access them easily. Yeah.
Okay. I think tukiongea kuhusu gender equality, something we're supposed to mention about na tunafaa kumtaja sana ni toxic masculinity and feminism. Can we define both?
So toxic masculinity, it's defined as the notion that it's a notion of people's ideology or idea of manliness, in quotes, perpetuating dominance, homophobia and aggression. So, and feminism, on the other hand, is a collective movement that began in the late 70s, 1970s, early 80s, which advocate for gender equality in all spheres of life. But when it comes to talking about gender equality, we also have to look at what does the law say. Because most conversations zenye nimekuwa involved zenye zinaongelea about gender equality, there are aspects that people speak of. How does the law speak about? So I had spoken about international provisions, so I took the liberty to break it down a bit simpler for you guys to listen, who are listening. Also, you mnaweza enda mziangalia again. So there is one known as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this is the umbrella on which all bills of rights or all basic human rights are drawn from the international convention, and it speaks of equality in all forms of life, all spheres of life. So there's no discrimination. So in the Kenyan context, chapter 4 speaks of chapter 4 of the Kenyan Constitution, which speaks of the Bill of Rights, under section 35, article 27, section 1, all through to the last section of article 27, and also article 35, section 1, which speaks of women have the right to equal treatment with men, including the right to equal opportunities in political, economic and social activities. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely hiyo ni tu what feminism means. I think hapo tumeweza kuidemystify vile watu wanasemanga eti feminism ni kama we are so much against men, and that is not what we mean wakati tunasemanga feminism. We just want tukuwe na an equal opportunity as women, who fight for the same things as men. So for the next question nitauliza, what brings about inequality in today's generation even after so many years? Kitambo ndo tulikuwa tuna expect hizi vitu zilikuwa zina happen wakati women were not allowed to vote, hakuwa allowed, sijui you cannot buy a piece of land kama huna bwanako or something like that. So what brings about the fact that even after so many years in modernization, bado hadi saizi we're still fighting for the same things?
So hadi saizi, okay, what challenges ama what brings about inequality in modern day generations? Kuna some cultural practices. We as Africans, we still want to remain behind those cultures zenye tulikuwa tunafanya. FGM sizes, there's a new form of FGM where some communities will exhume bodies of women who had not been who had not undergone the cut, and then they do the cut and then they rebury the body. So like FGM has become a very big issue, especially in the regions of North Rift and the Rift Valley region. Again, we have been advocating for us Kenyan community to try and change that way. Again, there is ignorance, especially from the youth, from the young people. People are ignorant to try and understand what does feminism or what does toxic masculinity mean for the community or for the society. So here we do not understand or do not want to learn more about feminism, what led to feminist movement, what has been the achievement of feminism in the society, and what does the law speak about gender equality. Because when you're having a conversation with the young people, most of them will not understand, or most of them do not know which rights they are to benefit, or what is entitled to them according to the constitution. So ignorance has become one big factor that has been pushing people now, especially in social media. Unapata watu wanaongelea very bad things towards women who are trying to achieve or who want to strive for their goals. Another thing has been poverty. Now, especially for young girls and single mothers, poverty has been very, very bad towards them, because you will find a girl will be exploited by the father, the uncle, the brother, in order for them to be able to have access to sanitary pads or other sanitary issues. Okay, women, young girls, single parents who have been used badly because they do not have a sense of stability when it comes to the economy. So men will tend to exploit that. Again, you will find even in workplaces, men will tend to exploit women because they lack a sense of stability when it comes to job promotion, when it comes to being given an employment opportunity and other factors. So like inequality in our own society has been a huge issue with very many factors, but these are some of the factors that have been pushing inequality in our society.
Especially the fact umesema ya mwisho on poverty. I think like it's something that generally affects the nini people today, and nimeona so many organizations trying to like curb your the whole issue, but it's very rampant. So for the next question is going to be, how does gender inequality affect our nation in the cultural dynamic, economical and social?
So I did the liberty of highlighting culturally. So gender inequality has affected our culture negatively by reinforcing gender roles. Because we are living in a transitional time, feminism has opened the eyes of both men and women when it comes to gender roles. But there are some communities that want to really stick back to those traditions where a man's role is to do this and a woman's role is to do this, giving little room for women and men to exploit or to take advantage of these upcoming new roles. Again, there has been perpetrators of sexual-based violence and gender-based violence now hide under the aspect of traditions and culture, because nobody wants to take that role of we want to bring justice, or we want to seek justice for perpetrators, for victims who underwent gender-based violence, sexual aggression on just gender-based violence. When it comes to economic, the community the society has been affected where women have little participation in decision making, and when it comes now to accessing opportunities and accessing factors of production, as we call them, so women do not have access to capital, number one, and if they have a small business, they will be exploited. Men will come and do this and that. People will speak ill against their businesses, which undermines the growth of their business, which also affects the living standard of the family of these women. Again, there's a huge pay gap that we are seeing within the employment sector. Men will tend to rank higher than women when it comes to paying, and the Kenyan society is rigid to try and curb or try and limit or reduce that gender pay gap when it comes to people who are working. So socially, women have been limited when it comes to decision making. So most of the decisions that we see from the national government, county government, have little participation of women. And ukiweza kakumbuka, the president did a campaign when time alikuwa afanya campaign, and he said 50% of the cabinet is going to be made up of women. But saizi, contrary to that, the cabinet is almost 60% made up of men. So women's participation, or women's role in the decision making is not that much. So we still have to strive to strike that gender balance when it comes to the to that gender role that has been pushed by the constitution of Kenya. Gender-based violence again has been rampant since 2016. I was listening to the podcast yenye mlikuwa mnaongelea kuhusu femicide. So it's not since 2016, it's since 2010 till date. There has been an increase in gender-based violence that has been targeted towards women. Women have become easy targets by, I would call them psychopaths, because not all men will wake up and decide today I will strike a lady, today I will do this to a lady. Okay, yeah, there has been a lot of negative stereotypes when it comes to women and women empowerment.
Okay, having known sasa like will like in affect inequality the way it's affecting our nation in general, my next question is going to be, what is the youth doing about it? Like, what is the youth doing about inequality in general?
So youth involvement in trying to address gender inequality in society. If you can remember the femicide walk. So the femicide walk was mostly planned, participated by youths. So youths have been vocal when it comes to try and lobby in government changes. So we have seen, especially now for the femicide walk, saizi there is a bill in the county government in Nairobi, and again most of these youths want to push a bill to almost all the 47 counties to try and address the issue of femicide. Again, number two, youths can be involved when we want to address gender inequality by first having education, having to learn what is the basic knowledge, or getting the basic knowledge of what does the law say when it comes to gender equality, and number two, how do we implement what the law says, and how do we change these negative stereotypes. Number three, calling out and bringing people to accountability. We will find is most of the youths ndio cyber bullies. Most of the youths ndio wataenda kwa page ya msee wamwambia, oh, you do this, you're doing that, you're this and that. No. But when it takes accountability, when one takes that position of accountability and wants to bring justice for these cyber bullies, then we can start a dynamo effect. Everything will take part and take shape. So we'll have to change our own perceptions, perspectives of how we think and look at gender inequality, and feminism. So if us as youth decide now, we will empower our mothers, our girls, our sisters when it comes to employment, getting opportunities, jobs, helping them where they feel stuck, then we can build a society where is gender free from gender biasness. Yeah.
Okay. My next question is going to be, My next question is going to be, what are the practices that are already working in Kenya right now?
So, number one, practices. There are NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and CBOs that have been set up that are pushing for women empowerment. There is FIDA. These are lawyers' organization which supposed to fight for women's rights. So they have been lobbying government change. They have been lobbying the government to look at how gender issues have been, and I would say they have been mostly successful because the government also set up a committee which is supposed to look at gender-based violence at domestic levels, and how these perpetrators are going to face justice, and how justice is going to be served for these victims. Number two, there have been rehabilitation centers that have been set up in communities where some of these cultural norms have been there. So you will find women are initiating projects that are supposed to rehabilitate both men and women in societies or in those communities, and they want to remove that notion of FGM, forced marriages are the way to go by removing that stereotype from their mind. Again, NGOs have been funding education centers and rehabilitation centers to such communities. So these girls who are both victims and to be victims of FGM or early marriage or any other form of inequality, they get access to education. So one way that you and I can change, or you and I can contribute to gender equality, is by focusing at our local level. How do I empower the local mother? How do I empower my mother? How do I empower my sister, my friend, to become the best she can be? That's the only way we can start as a country. We can already move forward. Yeah.
Okay, so for my next question is going to be do you think that this problem you're facing as a country or even as the whole world, is it going to be a problem in Itaisha anytime soon?
So with the projections saizi, it looks like it's a persistent issue. So in my field, I failed to say I am doing IR. So in the international community, there has been a lot of cries, there have been a lot of lobbying, especially from the United Nations and other organizations that have been pushing for gender equality. But you'll find at the local level, governments do not want to implement most of this. If you look at Kenya, for example, the government has failed to implement the two-third gender role. So this two-third gender role, which is supposed to empower women to have more opportunities in the political sphere, but the government is reluctant, or they do not want to implement this law because it might have some repercussions for, say, in the government. In the Gambia, for example, the government is slowly reacting to FGM issues and gender inequality issues, and they do not want to take charge. They do not want to be fighting for equal opportunities for women, just because they are stuck under the notion of women are supposed to be left in the household. Women should not be given the opportunity to go and work, should not be empowered. So it is an issue that we still want to fight, we still want to push for. But I would say in projection, like time, we would see a change in Kenya, for example, in the next 5 to 10 years, a change in perception how the government reacts to gender inequality issues in the country. But for the international community, it becomes problematic because different governments have different priorities, and the United Nations at some level becomes crippled when it comes to try and pushing for these international laws and convention that speaks on the removal and elimination of any form of inequality towards women. So there is aspects of limitation on how governments collaborate and cooperate in order for us as a country, as Kenyans, as well as the international community, ensures that the whole world has become gender, is free from any gender biasness. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that's like all we had to cover for today. Is there anything else yenye ungetaka kuadd?
So my part in short would be, also we should be thinking of pushing gender equity, because so for gender equity has been defined as now giving that fairness and justice for these opportunities. So as we continue fighting for equality, we should also strive to fight for equity, for gender equity. So where we get to see more women taking roles in politics, science, economics, and other fields that affect society, and being empowered and being given now the right opportunity for them. Because now we have women who are skilled enough to be in various spaces, but you find that there are laws, norms, and rules that want to limit how these women can be able to speak out or can be able to publish whatever findings they have. So as the youths, I would say, let's take first the chance of learning, getting educated when it comes to gender equality and gender equality issues, for us to be able now to take the next step of fighting, protecting, and promoting gender equality in the country.
Okay, thank you so much, Edi. That's all for today, guys. I'll see you on the next episode. And remember, if there is anything else and you would want us to discuss on the episodes, please do inform us. And thank you so much. See you next time.